A discussion about dogs on the beach and plans to expand the Hyannis Harbor Hotel on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, June 12, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. Dogs are allowed on the off-road portion of Sandy Neck, but some beachgoers have raised concerns about dog owners not being as responsible as they should. Park manager Nina Coleman spoke at last night's meeting of the Sandy Neck board.
As you know, we allow dogs on our beach, not on the public beach. We make that clear. Right. It's very confusing, but the off-road beach is not water tested, and therefore we can allow dogs out there. They're supposed to be on a leash. Maximum 15-foot leash, and they are only allowed off the leash when they're swimming. So that's sort of the outline. What's happened with this? Every year we have an increased usage of the beach, right? And so every year we have more dogs on the beach, and unfortunately that means every year we have a certain percentage of people who have dogs that are irresponsible dog owners. I get a lot of feedback about the dogs off leash. They can see us coming, they snap their dog back on, they don't get in trouble, or we can't cite them unless we actually physically see it. The not cleaning up after their dogs. And then on Memorial Day weekend, I had 2 dog bites. One was a dog on dog. An aggressive dog came flying out from under a vehicle. It was on leash, and it attacked an old invalid dog being led down the beach by his owner and leaped on top of them, and it was broken apart pretty quickly, but dangerous for the owners, dangerous for everybody.
Absolutely.
So that dog was ejected. And then 24 hours later, one of my officers, my seasonal officers, was addressing an issue at a campsite, and their dog came out and bit him. So everything is coming to a head. Unfortunately, we are so busy worrying about safety issues, and Mr. Stringer has brought to my attention his concerns about the dog issue on the beach and what he is seeing. So I invite him to come up, and he has some suggestions and some offerings to us.
And so I'm not here to discourage anything. I'm just here to encourage, I guess you just call better stewardship. And this is what you're discussing anyway.
Right.
That the dog owners may take a little bit more responsibility or be more aware of some of the things that they should do that they aren't doing. And being out on the beach, whether it's just out there in my truck or out there with our camper, I've seen too many times when I'm just amazed that people just don't seem to get it as far as what we're doing to the beach. And so anyway, I came up with a theme, and that's just my way of doing things, that expressing bag it, don't bury it. I had my daughter-in-law make up this flyer and presented it to Nina. And we've made a few changes, and a lot to do with what Nina could give me as input as to what really the big issues are. And we also wanted to make it so it's simple enough, because we know people aren't going to go out there and they're not going to do some reading. So we try to make it simple enough that they would read it, get the point. Our idea right now with the approval is simply on July 4th week, between the staff and myself and maybe some other volunteers, is simply to hand out these flyers either at the gatehouse or as they go by where the compressor is, and when they're airing down.
The flyers will be handed out to beachgoers starting at the end of this month. Coleman also spoke about a dedication ceremony planned for later this summer.
Yes, just wanted to extend the invitation to everybody on that July 22nd. Please let me know if you're coming, and there'll be a formal invite going out to the counselors. It's the Bodfish Memorial Park rock that we put all that effort into.
Right.
That the Bodfish family wanted to see that that marker for the property that the Benjamin Bodfish donated. So I've been working with the family, and we've come up with that date, and there will be the family members there from the Bodfish family. And it's going to be short and brief, and the grandchildren are going to unveil the rock, or the great-grandchildren, it would be at least the great-grandchildren, would be unveiling the rock. So I think it's going to be a nice little event.
We'll bring you more details about that dedication as they become available. Meanwhile, the Newport Hotel Group, which owns the Hyannis Harbor Hotel, is hoping to expand that location.
Mike Ford, representing the Newport Hotel Group, and with me is Doug Cohen, principal of the Newport Hotel Group. And we're here tonight to speak to you informally about a project that is in its infancy for the construction of an addition by way of a standalone building at Mr. Cohen's property at 213 Ocean Street, where the Hyannis Harbor Hotel is currently located.
David Cohen of the Newport Hotel Group explained some of their plan.
Last year we contemplated building a Marriott Residence Inn, so that would have been a branded hotel. It required a lot more land because it was going to be more than 100 rooms. They're very large rooms, and it needed a full complement of independent facilities because you really can't commingle a brand with an independent hotel. The franchise companies don't like that. So that's why we were looking at buying our abutters after the Anglers Club had the fire, and we really just couldn't get the timing all together because we either needed to purchase the property or they were going to rebuild, and we didn't want to sort of hold them up to get open for the summer season. So the timing really just did not work out. So we still thought a year-round hotel was a great idea. So that's why we've come back with this plan in which we would build a 68-room addition onto a separate building, but sort of basically an adjunct building to the Hyannis Harbor Hotel. You know, a modern construction, well-built, well-insulated. The Hyannis Harbor Hotel is charming, but it has a lot of exterior quarter rooms. It just doesn't really lend itself to a great year-round facility. We'd like to put very high levels of finishes in it, similar to the Newport Beach Hotel addition that we built, and we would keep it open 12 months a year. It would be a year-round hotel, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone would have. They also would have small kitchens in them as well. It would not have a restaurant, but it would have small kitchens. So if somebody wanted to microwave or do some light cooking, they could do that as well, which would probably appeal to the year-round market.
Attorney Ford reminds the board that these plans are very preliminary.
Essentially, there would be we would be closing off one of the existing driveways on Ocean Street. We would create a two-way entrance, which is currently two-way, between the current hotel and the new building. We would use the existing drop-off area of the existing hotel, and then we would have an additional 3 spaces for check-in. To be honest, I haven't actually quite figured out the check-in plan. My initial thought was that everyone would still check into the main building because that's sort of a winterized building that we completely rebuilt. It's attractive and sort of is sized enough, at least for the front desk, to handle it. We probably would staff someone in the summer to handle just welcoming, et cetera, on the new building. But I haven't actually formally figured out the 2 front desks, 1 front desk, et cetera. I think it probably would be fine just having the 1 front desk, but that having a very generous sitting, welcoming area in the new building.
Planning Board member Felicia Penn raised concerns about parking in the already busy and crowded harbor area.
I have no problem with a year-round hotel here at all, but I think you've got a massive parking problem. I think I live in the neighborhood.
Sure.
And parking is a nightmare. Not year-round, not in the off-season. Off-season, you're golden, especially if you're going to put, I see that they have some plantings or islands, et cetera, reorganizing the parking lot a little bit, et cetera, et cetera. But my biggest concern about this whole thing is pedestrian safety, obviously traffic control, and parking. And parking's a capital P.
Last night's presentation was simply an informal meeting. You can view the entire Planning Board meeting online at town.barnstable.ma.us. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.